So how does a single family, literally one family, become an entire nation? Today, we're going to jump right into a really pivotal chapter in the story of Jacob. It's a journey packed with, everything. Divine commands, heartbreaking loss, and the moments that laid the foundation for history.
Yeah, it's a massive question, right? In Jacob's story, it's kind of like a blueprint. It's a journey that's absolutely filled with these huge promises from God, but also just raw, intense human struggle, and the incredible work it takes to build a legacy. So let's see how it all unfolds. Okay, so the whole thing kicks off with a pretty clear command. God tells Jacob, hey, you need to go back. Not just anywhere, but back to a really, really important place from his past, a place called Bethel. And you got to understand, this isn't just a road trip. It's a pilgrimage. It's a return to a core memory. And the command couldn't be more specific. God literally says, go to Bethel and build an altar right there, on the exact spot where I appeared to you. Remember when that was? It was years ago when Jacob was on the run, totally terrified of his brother Esau. Talk about a full circle moment. But hold on, they can't just pack their bags and go. Jacob knows this is serious, so he lays down the law for his entire household. It's a three-step plan for getting ready. First, get rid of any strange gods, anything that's not the real deal. Second, get clean, literally wash up. And third, change your clothes. This tells you everything, right? They weren't just going on vacation, they were preparing to stand in a holy place. And wow, do they commit. It's this incredibly powerful, symbolic moment. The whole family hands over their idols, even their earrings, which, were often tied up with pagan stuff back then. And what does Jacob do? He takes this whole pile of their past and buries it under an oak tree. It's like they're literally burying their old life to start fresh. All right, so they finally get to Bethel, and Jacob does exactly what he was told. He builds the altar, and he gives the place a name, El Bethel. That translates to the God of the house of God. See, he's not just putting a pin on a map here. He's commemorating the experience itself. He's saying, this is it. This is the spot where God showed up for me when I had nothing. But this whole journey, it's about way more than just going back to a place. It's about a fundamental shift in who Jacob is. And this is the absolute core of the story. God shows up again and gives him a new name. Think about this. He goes from being Jacob, which means something like supplanter or heel grabber, hinting at his tricky past, to Israel, which means he strives with God. This isn't just a nickname. It's a whole new identity, a totally new destiny. And this new name comes with some absolutely mind-blowing promises. It's this incredible vision that spans generations. God tells him, 1, you're going to be fruitful and multiply. 2, a nation, heck, a company of nations will come from you. 3, you'll have kings in your lineage. And 4, that land I promised to your dad and your grandpa, it's yours now. Wow. So what does Jacob do to mark this, completely life-changing moment? He does his signature move. He sets up a stone pillar. By now, this is what he does, right? He creates these physical reminders of these massive spiritual moments. But, life isn't just a series of spiritual highs. The journey continues. And just as they experience this incredible high, they get hit with a devastating low, a moment of pure joy that's just instantly crushed by tragedy. So they're on the road to a place called Ephrath, which, by the way, we now know as Bethlehem. And Jacob's beloved wife, Rachel, she goes into labor with their second son. The text is so stark about it. It just says it was a hard labor. And tragically, it's one she doesn't survive. And what happens next is just heartbreaking. With her last breath, Rachel names her new son Benoni, which means son of my sorrow. Can you imagine? But Jacob, in his own grief, he can't let that be his son's name. So he renames him Benjamin, son of my right hand, which is a name of strength and honor. You have the mother's final pain and the father's desperate hope, all wrapped up in these two names for one child. And what does Jacob do? He sets up another pillar, but this one's different. It's not for a divine promise, it's to mark the grave of the woman he loved. These stone pillars, they're like a map of his life, marking both the incredible highs and the absolute lowest of lows. So you'd think, okay, this is the family that's going to become a nation? They must have it all together, right? Wrong. This family is a mess. We're about to see some serious dysfunction bubbling right under the surface of this grand divine plan. And I mean deep dysfunction. A huge scandal just explodes. Reuben, the oldest son, sleeps with Bilhah, his own father's concubine. That is a massive betrayal. It's a complete violation of everything family and honor are supposed to stand for. And the way the story describes the fallout, it's just chilling. It's just a few words, and Israel heard it. That's it. No yelling, no immediate punishment, just this heavy, awful silence. The shortness of that sentence says everything. It's absolutely deafening. Then, right after that moment of pure chaos, the narrative does something really interesting. It just pauses, and it gives us this very neat, very orderly list. The 12 sons of Jacob, all laid out by their foremothers. It's such a stark contrast. It's like the story is saying, yeah, the human side is messy as heck, but the divine plan, the foundation of these 12 tribes, that's not going anywhere.
All right, so the final part of this chapter brings Jacob's journey full circle again. He finally gets back to his own father, Isaac, and he arrives just as one era is coming to a close.
We find out that Isaac, the patriarch, lived to be 180 years old. And the text uses this beautiful phrase. It says he died old and full of days. You just get the sense of a life that was long and complete and truly lived.
And then, in a final, powerful moment of unity, who do we see standing together to bury him? Esau and Jacob, the two brothers who were once bitter rivals. All that conflict that started this whole journey, it's finally put aside as they stand together at their father's grave. It's really the end of their generation's story.
So when you look at the whole picture, Jacob's journey to becoming Israel is just this roller coaster of highs and lows, right? It's built on these incredible, sacred promises, but also on messy family scandals, on divine destiny, and on just gut-wrenching pain. It kind of leaves you wondering, doesn't it? When you're building a legacy and it's made of both promise and pain, which one really lasts longer?